My name is Nia. I am 25 years old. I want to tell you a story. It is my story. A hard story. A true story. It is about pain. It is about fear. And it is about hope. When I was 16, my life changed. My parents died in a car accident. One morning, I kissed my mother. She said, "Don't forget your lunch." That was the last time I saw her. That same day, they never came home. A big truck hit their car. They both died. I felt like the world stopped. I was alone. I had no brothers. No sisters. Only one aunt. But she had her own big family. She took me for a short time. Then she said, "You need to marry someone. Someone who can take care of you." I was only 18. She introduced me to a man named Amir. He was 32. Much older than me. He had a strong face. He didn't smile. My heart was not happy. But everyone said, "He has a good job. He will give you a house. He will feed you." I said yes. We got married. But from the first day, he was cold. He never asked me how I felt. He never said, "I love you." He didn't like when I laughed. He didn't like when I cried. He didn't like when I spoke to anyone. He wanted me to stay in the house. Always quiet. Always small. He had a short temper. If I forgot to make tea, he shouted. If the food was cold, he hit the table. If I looked tired, he said, "Why are you lazy?" And sometimes, he hit me. Not always hard. But enough to make me afraid. Enough to make me cry in the bathroom. I didn't tell anyone. I had no one. My aunt didn't care. She said, "He feeds you. That is enough." But it was not enough. My soul was dying. I started writing in a notebook. I wrote about my pain. I wrote about my dreams. I wrote, "One day, I want to be free." Some nights, I cried under the blanket. I looked at the moon. I said, "Mom, Dad, do you see me? I am not okay." One day, I saw an old woman on the street. She was selling scarves. I looked at her and smiled. She looked back and said, "You are young. Why are your eyes so sad?" I didn't answer. But her words stayed in my mind. Another time, I went to the doctor. I had pain in my stomach. The doctor asked, "Are you okay at home?" I lied. I said yes. But he looked into my eyes. He gave me a paper. On it was a number. A center for women. A place for help. I kept that paper in my notebook. One night, Amir was very angry. He came home and shouted. He threw a glass. It broke near my feet. I stood still. He slapped me. Hard. That night, I took the paper. I packed a small bag. I took some money I had saved. And I ran. I ran in the night. I ran with tears in my eyes. The center was warm. A kind woman named Sarah said, "You are safe now." I cried in her arms. I stayed there for many months. I met other women. Some were older. Some younger. All had pain. But we also had strength. Together, we learned to smile again. I found a job in a small shop. I cleaned floors. I folded clothes. It was simple. But I was proud. I was free. Every morning, I looked in the mirror and said, "Nia, you are strong. I joined a support group. We talked every week. I met a woman named Alina. She was 40. She had 2 kids. She told me, life does not end with one bad man. You will see. I started drawing again. When I was young, I loved to draw. I drew flowers, birds, and mountains. At the shelter, I drew on the walls. Everyone said, it brings color to the house. I saved money. I took a class in art. The teacher said, you have feeling in your hands. I smiled. It was the first time I felt good in many years. Then I moved out. I found a tiny room above a bakery. The smell of bread woke me every morning. I bought a small plant. I named it Hope. I painted the walls with soft yellow. I made tea and watched the sun. Alone. But free. One day, I saw Amir in the street. He looked angry. He said, you left without permission. I said, I left to live. He tried to grab my arm. But I stepped back. A man nearby said, is everything okay? Amir walked away. That night, I couldn't sleep. I thought he might come back. But he didn't. And I felt strong again. Months passed. I started selling my art. People liked my work. One woman asked, can you paint my daughter? I said yes. Her daughter smiled at me. I painted her holding a sunflower. I also helped at the Women's Center. I told my story to other girls. One girl, only 17, cried in my arms. She said, I want to be brave like you. I said, you already are. Now, I have a small life. But it is mine. I walk in the park. I feed the birds. I drink coffee near the river. I sing when I clean. I light candles at night. Sometimes, I still cry. Sometimes, I feel afraid. But most days, I feel free. One day, a kind man came into the art shop. His name was Julian. He saw my painting and said, this is full of feeling. He asked, did you paint this? I said yes. He bought one piece. Then he came back again. And again. He didn't ask too many questions. He just listened. We sat in the park. He brought tea. He told me about his mother, who was also an artist. We talked about books, about music, about life. One afternoon, I told him a little about my past. I said, I've been through some things. He said, I can see the strength in your eyes. It took months, but we became close. We painted together. He never pushed me. Never made me feel small. When he held my hand, it felt warm and safe. We are not married. Not yet. But we are learning each other. He knows my past. I know his. We both carry pain. But we carry it together.